Hey there and welcome to RPG Time. Today I'm covering one of my favorite Rockstar games, Red Dead Revolver. Red Dead Revolver was released in North American regions on May 4th, 2004, and later that year in PAL regions. The game received okay reviews upon release, like Eurogamer giving it a 6 out of 10, Game Informer giving it an 8, and IGN giving it a 7 out of 10. The game was also the start of the critically acclaimed Red Dead Redemption series. However, aside from some minor references in the later games, this game is standalone and not canon to the Red Dead series. Now let's move on to the plot overview. Warning up ahead, you should really play the game for yourself before you watch the plot overview. I'm going to be spoiling the game basically from the start of it. In the 1870s, prospectors Nate Harlow and Griff find gold in an area called Bear Mountain and celebrate by crafting two identical revolvers, each taking one. When Griff is later captured by the Mexican army, he convinces corrupt army general Javier Diego to spare his life by offering to show him where the gold is hidden. Diego instructs his right-hand man, an American mercenary calling himself Colonel Darren, to kill Nate and his family in order to conceal the gold's location. Darren and a band of hired guns murder Nate and his Native American wife, Falling Star, but their teenage son Red escapes after shooting off Darren's left arm with his father's revolver, the heat from which burns a scorpion-shaped scar into his hand. "12 years later, Red has become a ruthless bounty hunter. After slaughtering a gang of outlaws led by Bloody Tom, he takes their bodies to the town of Widow's Patch for the bounty on their heads. There he is ambushed by Ugly Chris and his men, who control the town. Red kills the gang with the help of Sheriff O'Grady, though the latter is wounded during the shootout. Red takes O'Grady to Brimstone, the nearest town, with a doctor, foiling a train robbery on the way there. In Brimstone, Red meets local lawman Sheriff Bartlett, who offers him several bounties on vicious outlaws plaguing it.
Real outlaws wreaking havoc in my territory. It'll be worth a pretty penny to you.
While trying to find Pig Josh, Red encounters the first playable character of the game, Jack Swift, locked in a cage. At first he's reluctant to help him, but when he realizes he's been ambushed by Pig Josh's men, he quickly frees them so he can help.
You ain't my problem.
After finishing off his henchmen, Pig Josh finally appears. Red and Jack Swift take him out together, and after, Jack Swift offers Red a hand anytime he needs it, and goes off to kill his former employer, Perry.
If I can be of any assistance whatsoever, do not hesitate to call upon me.
Jack ends up killing Perry and saves a woman that he kidnapped, who tells him about a bounty hunting competition in Brimstone.
Winner takes all. Shouldn't be a problem for such a fine marksman like yourself.
After eliminating his next two targets, Red returns to Sheriff Bartlett.
Money.
When Red tries to get his payment, Sheriff Bartlett informs him that the wagon train carrying the payment hasn't arrived yet.
You'll have to take that up with
Then Red has to go to the bank.
Well, maybe I can speak with him myself.
At the Brimstone Bank, Red overhears a local rancher, Annie Stokes, mentioning the gold that his parents were killed over. Intrigued, he visits her at her ranch shortly after. It is burned on the orders of Governor Griff, as retribution for Annie refusing to sell her property. Red questions Annie on the gold mine, but she knows nothing about it. However, she tells Red to go to the saloon to learn more.
I know nothing about a gold mine. You might want to take a trip on down to the saloon.
Lose his arm.
Later, at a saloon, Red overhears some thugs talking about Colonel Darren, and winds up killing them in a gunfight when they refuse to tell him more. Bartlett arrests Red, but quickly releases him upon learning that he is Nate Harlow's son, and reveals the circumstances surrounding his parents' murder. Red leaves to exact revenge on Diego, but is captured by Darren after destroying one of their supply trains. While imprisoned and forced to work as a slave mining gold, Red befriends a fellow captive referred to only as the Buffalo Soldier. Before the pair are rescued by Red's Native American cousin Shadow Wolf. After escaping from the mines, Red and Shadow Wolf storm Diego's camp and kill Darren, though Shadow Wolf is mortally wounded. Diego then tries to escape via the armored train, but Red chases him down and kills him. Meanwhile, Buffalo Soldier travels to Brimstone to seek Governor Griffin's help, only for the governor to reveal his affiliation with Diego and order Buffalo Soldier imprisoned. Later, Red, Annie, and Jack participate in Brimstone's yearly quick draw competition, hosted by Griffin and Bartlett. Griffin manipulates the competition to ensure Red is killed, but the latter defeats all of his opponents. Enraged, Griffin pulls out his revolver to kill Red himself, but the latter notices his weapon is identical to his own revolver, and deduces Griffin is his father's traitorous business partner, Griff. As Griffin makes his escape, he orders his henchman, Mr. Kelly, to kill Red. After dealing with Kelly, Red storms Griffin's mansion alongside Annie and Jack. And after cutting their way through the governor's many bodyguards, they end up separated. Jack ends up sacrificing himself to help Red, while Annie finds and rescues the Buffalo Soldier. Afterwards, Red goes to confront Griff and kill him. After fighting his way through the last of Griff's henchmen, Red faces Griff in a duel. After killing Griff, Red meets Bartlett and Annie back at the entrance of the mansion. Red thanks his allies for their help, and is offered the gold that he is owed by Bartlett, who thanks him for all the good he has done for Brimstone, and warns him to leave before the army comes to investigate the governor's death. Before leaving, Red tells the sheriff to give the gold to Annie and the Buffalo Soldier, and leaves with Griffin's revolver, saying that it was never about the money.
Give it to them. It never was about the money.
The story is simple and great. It's a typical revenge story with some unique aspects. The game takes a lot of influence from old westerns, and the story is very much a homage to those classic films. The cutscenes are an example of this, and the game has that gritty feel and look of an old western movie. The soundtrack as well fits the western feel perfectly. The story kept things interesting by switching perspectives to different characters, and then having you play as Red occasionally. And the characters you played as were cool. The Buffalo Soldier, Annie, Jack were all fun characters. I liked how the story was set in so many different locations too. It was fun seeing what was next. The story is just enjoyable to play through, and it's satisfying when you finally kill Griff and get revenge for your parents. It isn't the deepest or most complex story out there, and is definitely not on the level of either of the Red Dead Redemption games, but it didn't need to be, and the story works perfectly for the game. That's it for my thoughts on the story. Now we move on to gameplay.
You're a man of few words.
The gameplay for Red Dead Revolver is awesome. It mostly revolves around combat with some downtime between stages, in either the town or menus for buying items like new weapons, journal entries, and upgrades for your character, like increased max health and increased Deadeye. The controls in the game take a bit to get used to, but once you do, it is smooth and very fun. There are a variety of weapons to use and experiment with, which is great. You can equip 3 weapons on your character at a time to switch between. Before each level begins, you can equip a rifle, revolver, and a throwable item. You also have to repair weapons between levels, since weapons will degrade over time the more you use them. This costs a bit of money, but isn't too annoying. It's kind of pointless though. The rifles and revolvers are great, but throwables are just okay. The knives are terrible and barely do damage. The Molotovs are good, but setting yourself on fire by accident is annoying. And the dynamite is great. Otherwise, you're better off using your guns primarily. You can also upgrade weapons at the gun store to do more damage. This helps you keep up with the game's difficulty as it rises. Combat at its core is simple. You draw your weapon by holding a button, then aim and shoot. Obviously, there's more to it. You can also take cover against walls and peek out to shoot. This is useful for taking out enemies that are far away or above you, and it's a well done mechanic. It's very similar to how taking cover works in later Rockstar games, like GTA 4. Along with this, you get Deadeye, which works the same way it does in the Red Dead Redemption games. You hit the button, and time slows, allowing you to auto-aim and obliterate enemies, and it feels awesome. My only complaint is that sometimes it seems like your shots in Deadeye don't do enough damage, or it will trigger like at a wrong time and then your shots just go ahead. You can also dodge by rolling out the way, which feels amazing. It's one of my favorite mechanics in the game. I love dodging bullets and enemies with it, especially in showdown mode. There are also duels in the game which pop up occasionally. You have to draw your gun out with the joystick and put enough targets on the enemy before they shoot you. It's an okay mechanic. I enjoyed it a bit, but later in the game, the duels get frustrating. They ramp up the duel difficulty by increasing the number of people you duel, like at one point Red duels 3 guys at once. Moving on, I want to talk about the levels, which are awesome. There's a lot of level variety, and there's typical Western set pieces, like a train, an old Western town, canyons, and all that other typical Western shit. The levels also flow nicely from area to area. There's always places to take cover at, and none of the enemy positions feel unfair. Overall, I love the level design in this game, and the levels are awesome. Some of my favorites include Bad Bessie's Canyon, the deserted town where you fight Mr. Black, Widow's Patch, Train Level, and Mr. Griff's Mansion. There's a combo system as well, which gives you points and extra cash. It's a nice addition which adds to the combat. In addition to the combo system, there's also a rating system. You can get a good or an excellent rating on stages you've completed. You get rated on your combos, accuracy, damage taken, and how much time it took you to beat the level. You get one reward for a good rating and a special reward for an excellent rating. The rewards are usually showdown levels, showdown characters, or weapon upgrades. It's a fun system, but getting excellent on some levels is hard as hell and can be very frustrating. I also want to talk about the weapon variety. There's 3 types of guns: revolvers, shotguns, and rifles. The revolvers are great all-around combat weapons, while the rifles excel at long range, and shotguns of course being amazing for short-range combat. Each weapons have different stats that you can compare in the menus as well, and the weapon can be upgraded. This is an awesome mechanic and I enjoyed it. There's also the throwables, which I mentioned previously, but in addition to Molotovs, dynamite, and knives, there's also some unique throwables like snake oil, which are okay. I never really used throwables outside of showdown mode. They're very situational, and guns are going to be more effective at killing enemies most of the time. There's also melee in this game, and it feels terrible. The level at the saloon where you have no gun, and it makes you fist fight is one of the worst levels in the game, just because the melee combat is ass. It's awkward to use melee, and enemies take way too many hits. Other than that, fighting your way through the various stages is never boring. The enemies attack from various vantage positions, so you must keep up your guard and take cover to take them out. You can still run and gun though, especially once your aim gets good, and you get good at dodging enemies by rolling. But you are going to have a hard time at first if you don't take advantage of cover. The game also gets way more difficult in the later stages, so make sure you get good at dodging, aiming, and take advantage of your special abilities. A unique aspect of this game is how it switches between many playable characters that all have different special abilities. Some like Jack Swift have better versions of Deadeye, while characters like the Buffalo Soldier have unique abilities like incendiary shots. This adds variety to the combat, and it's fun to experiment with different characters, especially in showdown mode where there's more characters to play. The game has a lot of bosses. Some notable ones are Bad Bessie, Griff, Diego, Colonel Darren, and Pig Josh. There's a lot more, but they're all pretty fun, with most having some type of gimmick you have to deal with, like Bad Bessie's whip or Pig Josh's dynamite. There's some mini-bosses as well, but aside from having names and them being playable in Showdown, there's nothing special and they're laughably easy. It's funny sometimes because the game will throw out so many of these mini-bosses, especially in the last level. Overall, the combat of this game is great. It's the best aspect of the game by far, and it had an influence on how later Rockstar games like GTA 4 and Red Dead 1 felt. The controls have also aged the best out of any Rockstar game from this era, and it's way easier to go back and play Red Dead Revolver now than it is to go back and play any of the old GTA games. The combat also has a surprising amount of depth. You can dodge, take cover, use various special abilities, and experiment with a wide arsenal of weapons. Moving on, I want to talk about the segments of the game between combat, the town and the shops. So aside from the combat, there's also the town and the shops, that serve as downtime between levels. There's a variety of shops to visit like the saloon, gun shop, tailor, bank, and general store.
What can I do?
These shops allow you to buy various items which unlock journal entries, showdown levels, or showdown characters. The gun store allows you to upgrade and buy guns. I love that the game gives you downtime to buy things. It's a fun mechanic, especially when you gain access to the town. During the town segments, the game lets you explore like an open world game. It's a small map, but it's still very charming, and I like exploring the various shops and talking to the NPCs. The shops chain stock between level, and some characters sell you special upgrades if you talk to them in the town, like the Paperboy, who if you talk to 4 times after a specific level, will sell you a Deadeye upgrade. So there's always a reason to explore the town during these parts. I also liked when you go into the shops and the game switches to an isometric angle, like a survival horror game. It's cool and it gives the shops a unique feel. When you first start the game, or when you don't have access to the town, you can still buy everything you need from the menus between levels, which serve as a stand-in for the town segments. Overall, I really like this aspect of the game, and it's nice that the game gives you a break from combat to upgrade and unlock new things. The gameplay overall is great. I love the combat, and the segments between levels are dope. The variety the game has with the characters, special abilities, and levels is amazing, and is one of its best qualities. Moving on to my favorite mode of the game, Showdown. Showdown is available from the start of the game, and it's a mode where 4 players can go up against each other. It's an amazing co-op mode, and some of my best times with the game were in Showdown mode, playing against my brother with AI opponents. The number of characters you can unlock for this mode is insane. There's 48 characters in total, with 8 starter characters. Each character has a unique special ability. Some range from absolutely broken, like falling stars, explosive arrows, to absolute ass, like Bad Bessie's whip. But it's fun experimenting with them all. The number of characters to choose from really makes the game mode replayable, and allows players to use many different playstyles. Some of my favorite characters include Fidget, Mannequin, Falling Star, North Harlow, and Natalie. There are also 13 maps, Most are reused from the main game, with a few unique ones available to play on, with my favorite being Twin Rocks by far. I like most of the maps, but some of them are a bit too big, like Ghost Town, and the AI opponents sometimes get lost in the map. In addition to the characters and maps, you get several game modes, including Bounty Hunter mode, Sundown, and High Noon. High Noon is a dueling mode where you can duel against other players. It sucks, and I don't think it works well. Dueling was also changed slightly, and it feels weird. Bounty Hunter and Sundown mode are dope. They are just PvP modes, but for Bounty Hunter, you must get a certain amount of money from kills to win, while Sundown requires you to have the most money when the time runs out. Both of these modes also have a lot of crazy power-ups. Some are bad, like some of the weapons or bottles with certain effects are just bad, and some are great, like the explosive arrows. You get these power-ups by collecting cards that drop from dead players. These cards also heal you and restore Deadeye depending on the color that drops. I love playing with these power-ups, and the card mechanic is sick. It makes the mode very chaotic and fun. And if you ever get tired of power-ups, you can always turn them off in settings. You can also set the time limit and the amount of bounty a player has to collect for the win. Last thing I wanted to mention is some of the top tier showdown characters, like Falling Star, whose power up is a shit ton of explosive arrows, and she is one of the best revolvers in the game as a second player. There's also Nate Harlow, who has invisibility with the best revolver in the game. Manny Quinn, whose resistance to fire and can light himself on fire to spread it onto other players. And Natalie, who has poison bullets that will annoy you to death. Overall, this is my favorite piece of side content in the game. I loved unlocking the characters and trying them out, and it's a fun co-op mode. Even after this video, I will still play Showdown mode from time to time with my bro. Moving on, I want to cover Bounty Hunter mode. Bounty Hunter mode is unlocked after beating the game, and it's basically a challenge mode where you must finish levels while doing specific things, like shooting enemies only in the head, or not shooting the sheriff in the Ugly Chris level. These challenges range from very easy to very difficult. The mode kind of sucks, they just make you do the stages again with annoying challenges, and it feels lazy. You can unlock showdown characters and cheats by completing these though, so there's at least a reward. The cheats are awesome and it's cool unlocking them, but like I said before, some of the stages are difficult, so if you want all the cheats you are going to have to earn them. The showdown characters are alright, but they can be unlocked by buying certain items in shops instead, so the cheats are the better rewards. Overall, this mode was kinda ass, and I only liked getting the cheats from it. Moving on, I want to talk about the journal. The journal gives you a lot of lore and background information about the characters and world of Red Dead. You unlock more journal entries by buying certain items from shops, and there's a lot of them. The journal entries cover characters' backgrounds, the town, and all the weapons, giving some cool details about each topic. The journal also lets you view completion stats and showdown stats. You can access it from the main menu. I enjoyed reading through the journal and learning about the game's world. The journal is a cool feature and it's a great piece of side content for the game. Now for my overall thoughts and score. Red Dead Revolver is one of my favorite PS2 games. The gameplay is great, the story is awesome, and I just love the game. The game still holds up today, even though it takes a bit of time to get used to the controls. This is Rockstar at their best, and I'd give the game a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video, and stay tuned for the next review.